Hey travelers, Captain Carmen here. Well, I am sailing along on the Danube, getting our way over to Croatia, and I've had the opportunity to sit down with Steve Spivak from Tauck and Tauck River Cruising and do a great interview about all the elements of Tauck that make them so special. I did that while I was at the ASTA River Cruise Expo over the last week. So tune into the video coming up right now, enjoy it, and learn all about Tauck when it comes to river cruising and what makes them so special. Give me a call, I'll help make it happen to get you on a Tauck river cruise. Enjoy the video. Hey travelers, Captain Carmen here. Well, I am docked here in beautiful Vienna on the wonderful Tauck Saver, and I am fortunate to have Steve Spivak. He is the VP of Global Sales and Service here at Tauck, and he's graciously offered to spend some time so we can talk about Tauck and the differences in Tauck and why Tauck river cruising and Tauck vacations in general are such a wonderful experience. Steve, thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate you having us here on Tauck for this pre-event here at the ASTA Expo. I'm here for the second time at the ASTA River Cruise Expo to learn all about river cruising, to help you guys learn about that and how I can get you on these wonderful ships to these wonderful places. But more importantly, Steve's going to be here to tell us about the differences about Tauck and why it's so special with their service and all the inclusions that they offer that only Tauck does.
Good morning, Captain Carmen. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that very much. So we know there's a lot of options when it comes to river cruising. Ships are similar. They're about the same size, 38 feet wide, 443 feet long. They go to similar itineraries, the Rhine, the Danube, and other wonderful places. And they all have different levels of inclusion, different things that I help travelers understand, because it's not just about the price, it is about the value. But we know that Tauck is different. This is my, fortunately, second time on Tauck, on a river cruise, and it's been wonderful the first time, and even more wonderful to do it again. What are some of the things that differentiate Tauck river cruising from other cruise lines in regards to what you guys do?
Sure, we have a way of doing things that I would say is unique in river cruising, and it carries through to every way that Tauck travels. You know, it's really these four key pillars I like to think of.
Okay.
You know, the first is never settle for ordinary. You know, and when you're traveling, you travel to experience the exceptional. You travel because you have a vision or a dream of what a destination is like, and you want that dream fulfilled.
Absolutely.
And so that's where we come in, is not just taking people to places, but immersing them in a destination, really giving them access to things they could never have on their own, and making sure they have that feeling like the velvet rope has been lifted for them, literally and figuratively, when they travel with Tauck. And a great example, and you experienced this last night.
Absolutely right.
Is our Imperial evening here in Vienna, where we take our guests to the Palais Pallavicini, 17th century palace in Vienna, and it's one of only 4 remaining privately owned palaces.
Oh, cool.
And all of the other palaces, and there's over 100, are now owned by the government, but there are 4 families that still maintain and own their palaces, and we take our guests to one of these for an evening filled with music from the Vienna Residence Orchestra, ballet, opera, and they're served a beautiful meal by white-gloved waiters. And you know, most companies, when they come to Vienna, they take their guests to an auditorium, they give them maybe a glass of champagne, and then they come back to the ship to dine. Well, to immerse yourself in the opulence and tradition of Vienna, we believe the right way to do it is in a palace, in a ballroom that Mozart himself played in. And it's one of those experiences where our guests say, I would have come here for this alone. And that's not settling for ordinary. And when we go to Giverny on the Seine, we do it before it opens to the public. So it's just your fellow travelers experiencing exactly what Monet saw when he painted his great masterpieces. And those are the things where people go, I would have come here for this alone.
I mean, I totally get it, because last night there was about 120 of us in this beautiful palace, and you know, you're enjoying the music and a wonderful dinner, not only served by White Glove, but it was extremely tasteful. Wonderful wines that they constantly were pouring for us as we wanted. But as the night went on, you were connecting not only with your fellow travelers that you had gotten to know, but you were connecting more, in this case, with the Viennese culture and that history. And it's so nice to have your insight and now my firsthand experience about how travelers can really further connect when they want to travel, to not just maybe see Vienna, but to be part of Vienna. And that immersion, just like Giverny you mentioned, or other places I know Tauck goes, or other cruise lines go, but you do that little extra that really makes the difference. And
absolutely.
A lot of times I don't think travelers or travel advisors always talk about it. There's conversations after people get back when you get on the bus. And everybody's in this really elated type of space or mindset. They're like, that was just amazing. And they're like, you hear, oh, I'm gonna remember that, or when the waiter did this, or when the woman, her voice was just, off the charts, literally. They're the type of things that people remember. And I'm so glad that Tauck takes the time and makes the effort to bring that to travelers, because that's the thing I want folks to understand, is that those opportunities and experiences are available.
Absolutely, and they're available, but what the travel advisor really brings to life, and the reason the travel advisor is so critical, is if somebody just goes online and tries to do it themselves, the internet will sell you anything. Right, and every all these river cruise lines, and look, there's not a bad one out there.
Oh, absolutely not.
But for your clients who want the best, all of them online sound the same. They all say all inclusive. Right. It's the quality of what's included. It's how much is included. Right. Many river cruise lines say they're all inclusive, and what that means is there's a cocktail hour. Right? Cocktails are included during that hour, but if you come back after your beautiful dinner off the ship and you want an aperitif, or you want a glass of veuve with Tauck, that's included.
Right.
Every single thing is included. If you want the shore excursion, there are no optional excursions with Tauck. There's nothing to be sold with Tauck. We include choice of the best excursions. Now, a travel advisor can tell you the difference. You can really guide your clients to, let me tell you the truth about all-inclusive.
Right.
It seems fairly simple. All is everything. Nope. All is something, not everything. With Tauck, all-inclusive means everything. And that allows you to, this is sort of number 2 of our core values, it allows you to leave your worries at home. Right? You're not thinking about, do I need to, what's my bill going to be at the end?
Right.
Do I need to give a gratuity to this person? Should I pay a little bit more for that better excursion? You get to leave your worries at home. You pay that one upfront price, and you're getting the best of everything. And that's peace of mind, which allows people to really immerse themselves in the experience they've dreamed of.
And you talk about that peace of mind, but I think I tell people a lot, or tell my travelers, when you're on vacation, you want to be on vacation. You don't want to waste the time when you're in some beautiful city or a destination you've dreamed of going to, thinking about stuff and worrying about this and that. I'll help them get it all planned, and I appreciate you telling them the value of the travel advisor, because I work really hard so that folks understand that value and what I bring to them. But once they're here, they'll be in the hands of Tauck, and they'll be in the hands of the cities or the destinations that they're in. And Tauck really marries that so that it's seamless. They don't have to worry about essentially anything. I mean, Tauck's unique in the fact that, like, even if folks book their own air, transfers are still included. Little things like that. And that's the fine details that I can help out with to explain. But when you understand the whole Tauck experience and their definition of how luxury travel can be, Steve nailed the point. There's all levels of all-inclusive, but it's what is the Tauck definition of all-inclusive?
Yes.
Question I had. So we talked about the ships, the hardware on the rivers, and then you have your staff. And I'm a true believer that amazing staff bring amazing levels of service. And there's a couple things about Tauck that I love, not only with the cruise director, but the 3 tour directors that are on board every Tauck ship when they sail. Can you explain a little bit about that and how that makes a difference with connecting with the guests and being able to offer these deeper experiences?
Sure. So if you go back to 1925,
By the way, Tauck has been around now for 100 years doing what they're doing. So
Yes.
they've been doing something right for a long time.
Yeah, so this is our 100th year, but if you go back to 1925 to that first tour on the back roads of New England, when Arthur Tauck, who was in his 20s at the time and sort of had a vision of what would help people live their best life,
Right.
he had this idea: if I take people out of their everyday, out of the ordinary, to see the wonders of a new place, they would be changed by that. But he believed that the key to that was introducing them to places where everyone knows your name, and you would be welcomed warmly. Introducing them to sights and experiences that they would not find on their own. But I think the key to the recipe for success was he believed that they should be properly chaperoned, as he said. In his first newspaper ad back in 1925, he said, "All I want is a congenial party. 15 minutes after leaving Newark, we shall be one happy party, properly chaperoned and out for a great time. I want no grouches or pessimists." That's all he wanted, was this group, this congenial party. But the key to that was being properly chaperoned. And still to this day, we believe to really enjoy the destination to its fullest, you should be properly chaperoned. That means that every Tauck group is guided by an employee of Tauck. And these are people whose life work, their passion is to show people these great destinations. So when we go into a city like Vienna, an employee of Tauck is with our guests. Doesn't mean we don't bring along the best local guides to help add color to the story and that local experience. But our guests are always in the care of a Tauck employee, and Tauck is the only company that does that.
And I don't mean to interrupt, but that's a key point that I want travelers to understand, that again, on other travel operators or other travel cruise lines and things of that nature, there are local guides that will be there with guests, but with Tauck, there's always that extra person. They're putting up tents around us, so if you see tents appearing in the picture, that's why. But that's such a great factor, because that Tauck connection, that Tauck service is always there. You're not handed off, and that can be whether you're on a bike tour through Dernstein, where we were the other day, or through the Wachau Valley, or walking tour in a city. And that's a huge difference, that you still have a cruise director, but you have those three Tauck directors that are always there on the different tours, so that the guests always know they have that familiar face that they've gotten to know and built that relationships.
And it allows us to curate some personal touches along the way. If a guest is celebrating a special birthday, sometimes the tour directors who are empowered to do this and given resources to do it, they'll find a little something extra to share with that guest, a little gift, a token, something special. But it also means that when our guests come back on board the ship, they don't leave the experience behind. If there was something that piqued their interest and they want to continue discussing it, learning more about it, the Tauck director is there. Content is so important to our guests. And we, along the way on the rivers, bring on local entertainers, local craftspeople, local artists, but the Tauck directors are subject matter experts in unique facets of the itineraries that we're on. And so they provide content, they provide storytelling, and they're such an incredible part of the experience. And many guests will travel with Tauck and they'll say, the private visit to the Louvre was exceptional. I'll remember that for my lifetime. What really made the trip was that Tauck director, because of the service, because of the care, because of the knowledge. They really bring the destination to life. And
it's interesting. So the cruise director on here, Nick, was on my cruise a year ago, and as soon as I got on board, he waved at me and he remembered me.
You're a memorable guy.
Thank you. But it's just that connection, because he did remember me, but then already knew that, like, you had that relationship with them.
And we refer to this as traveling in good company.
There you go.
And it is again a chaperoned experience, out for a great time. And to us, that is part of the definition of luxury, is personalized service. And when you're off with a local guide and a hired gun who doesn't know you,
right,
who doesn't know why you're here, they're taking group after group after group, no connection to the people or the company or the values. It's a very different experience, and what makes this luxury is that personalized care, that touch, that sort of thread that carries through everything we do.
Absolutely. And again, I've been fortunate to experience it for the second time now. Now, we're talking river cruise. Just real quickly, how does that similar type of service and connection with guests transfer over to the land tours and things that Tauck does?
So it's really the same philosophy. And when you think about Tauck and the many different styles of travel that we offer, river cruising, multi-generational with our Tauck bridges, small ship cruising, or our classic land journeys, every one of those four pillars, travel in good company, leave your worries at home, never settle for ordinary,
right,
get what you pay for and then some. All those are sort of the DNA or architecture of what we do. So when you're traveling on land with Tauck, there will always be those exceptional experiences, that access you can't get anywhere else. And another example, in Rome, when we go to the Sistine Chapel, we go after hours when it's closed to the public. So our guests are in the Sistine Chapel for an hour and a half with a privately guided experience. But the Tauck director is a part of every Tauck journey.
That's
the
great.
Exceptional experiences, all of the touches and inclusions, and that's, no matter how you're traveling with Tauck, it should always feel the same. So when you go on a Tauck river cruise, and this is a great way for people to experience Tauck for the first time, when you go on a Tauck river cruise, you don't just fall in love with Tauck river cruising, you fall in love with the Tauck way of doing things. And when you go to Africa with Tauck, it's going to feel the same. Entirely different destination and a totally different experience, but you'll feel the same sense of value and care.
Oh, for sure. And you find those little, I hope to say the little Lagniappes that happen.
Lagniappes.
Did I say
yes,
Lagniappe?
Very good.
So I remember it. So maybe you can just real quickly enlighten us on that French word and what the meaning is and how you guys attach to that and why that is a unique part of the thread that is the service that Tauck offers.
Sure. So the term Lagniappe.
Lagniappe. Sorry, guys.
No, you got it pretty well. The term Lagniappe is a French Cajun term, and it means a little something extra.
Okay.
And a little something extra, we all have the expectation of what's in the brochure, of what's on the itinerary. But what really makes us feel special are the little surprises along the way. The little extra touches that go, wow, they really care. They really want to make me feel special. And so built into every Tauck journey, built into every itinerary by design, are these little surprises along the way.
There you go.
And the little surprise could be something as small as taking everyone to a beer garden in Germany, in Bavaria, and it's a day of touring, and we're sort of at the end of the day, and everyone's kind of winding down, and wow, it'd be really nice to have a beer. So something like that, just a little surprise. Sometimes the surprises are much bigger. Right. And it's a special visit to Giverny, and you didn't know that was going to happen, but it's just a magical moment. What the other form that Lagniappes take are the ones that our tour directors, our Tauck directors, make happen when they see an opportunity to surprise and delight. And every Tauck director has at their discretion what's called an Enliven Fund.
Okay.
And it's a pot of gold that's set aside for them to find ways to surprise our guests and delight our guests. And that could be something like on a hot day in Italy, saying to everyone, hey, let's go to this gelateria over here.
There you go.
It's a warm day, let me treat everyone to a cone. And they're empowered to do that, and they have the funding to do that because we know it makes a difference in the experience.
Right, and that's key, because the part about that, the fact that they have the power and the funding, and they're empowered to make it happen. But Tauck has also thought about it. They know that the opportunity presents itself, and sometimes when that opportunity passes by, it's gone. So if that gelato stand is there, or if there's that opportunity to grab that beer, you seize that moment.
Yes.
But you're also seizing that moment that makes a memory. And I tell people, you're adding pages to your own personal travel book. You're building your own content. And that's what I work really hard on for people, because, you know, every destination and every experience is personal to that person, to their loved ones who they're traveling with. But they might remember Steve, the tour guide, when we were in Vienna, because he did this and we laughed over this beer, or whatever the case was. That's where it comes full circle, I think, when you talk about not just luxury travel, but luxury experiential travel and memorable travel.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing I love so much about all this.
And it's why we travel.
It is why we
It's
travel.
why we travel. It's to make memories that live with us a lifetime, and it just enriches us.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's the stories we tell that we share with our children or grandchildren, and it helps inspire them, and it's part of a life well lived. And that's the honor of being part of Tauck, is knowing we're doing this for people, and we can't think of better people to do it with than partners like you, Carmen.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. And that's the truth. It is an honor, and you feel like, for me, it's a passion. And I love helping travelers like you guys to experience the world any way that works for you, because ultimately I'm a good steward to your time and your resources, but my knowledge and experience work hard for you. Steve, I can't thank you enough.
Thank you,
I appreciate
Carmen.
it.
It's a
And I
pleasure.
got to say, thanks for wearing a little Cruise Planners green on there
A little,
for me.
yeah, a little cruise planner swag.
So-
my vintage Tauck vest actually looks like
A little bit of Cruise
a
Planners.
little bit of cruise planners.
But yeah, so anyway, with that, this has been great. Steve, again, thank you so much.
My
We're going to
pleasure.
go experience the city a little bit, and then we got the expo the next couple days. But any questions about anything regarding how to travel to get you on a Tauck experience, I'm here to help you out. You all have a great day. Thank you again, Steve.
Bon voyage.
Bye.